Hi everybody, my name is Taylor Hamblin. I'm going to be your instructor for Social Studies Methods for Elementary School Teachers. I'm extremely excited to be able to bring this class to you. I know we were all kind of worried in the beginning of this semester or the summer or even last spring semester if we were going to be able to even take summer courses. And I've been really excited to be able to craft and shape this course online. I think it is going to be a very enjoyable experience. I've learned a lot on how to make a course online enjoyable, interactive, one that will help build a community. So I'm very excited to offer it to you, and I cannot wait to meet all of you, online. And I really wanted to make this video to just, introduce myself because I think, it's important to see my face, to hear my voice. But I also wanted to show you the course. I wanted to kind of explain how the course will work. I've gotten a lot of emails over the last week, and I know a lot of you have jobs this summer. Some of you are nannying from like 9 to 4. Some of you are working in the food industry. Some of you are working at camps as a counselor, and everyone's in a different situation. It's a tough thing to take an online course in the summer. So what I tried to do is I try to make a course flexible, and I'll kind of get into how I did that. But it will be important to know this. We do need to meet synchronously. What that means is we need to meet around the same time over the course. And if I look at my calendar, I see that we're meeting from 1:30 p.m. till 3:45 p.m. starting this next Monday. That'll be very important that you are able to do these things. And if you're not able to meet synchronously, you do need to let me know as soon as possible, because we need to talk about alternatives or just something that we could possibly figure out and do. So again, this course is meeting synchronously. I know some other courses are just giving you content and kind of expecting you to do it on your own time and schedule. This course will not be doing that. I have a few reasons why, too. I'm not just doing it to make your lives harder. This is a methods course, and part of being a methods course means we need to do some pretty deep discussions, and it's kind of hard to do that when we're not all in the same place at the same time, whether that place is online. And so we are doing a lot of discussions and things like that in order to help you understand some of these deeper methods you'll need to know in order to be an effective elementary school teacher. This isn't going to be my introduction video. I have a different video that I'll share out later, but this is going to be more like the course tour. Forgot my words. So I'm going to actually change my logo a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and X that out. Oh, that's not it. There we go. And you guys can see me now. You see this course behind me, and I'm actually even going to raise myself up. Video magic. All right, here we go. So on the screen right now, you should be able to see it, is the course. I'm going to kind of be looking both back and forward just because it helps me figure out what I'm doing. But this is the course, and if you scroll through, you'll realize maybe right away that there's only one day. I did that on purpose because I'm still thinking and crafting. I don't want to put a lot of work into the design and format just to change it. This is a social studies methods course, and so a lot of what I'll do is ask you guys your opinions on how it should be shaped. And so, for example, if you find that something needs to be changed, we'll change it later. So I'm not going to update the entire course yet. Eventually, there will be 20 days or 20 modules in here. But right now, you only see before class module, and that says day 1, June 8th. These are all active right now. And again, I'm just going to kind of show you how these things work. First thing, before class, so before Monday, so starting today, tomorrow, this weekend, whatever, but before class, you do need to take care of these 3 things. So the first one is review the core syllabus. I'm not going to spend time reading the syllabus to you guys during the first class period. I find that to kind of be a waste of time. You guys are adults. I have all the confidence in the world that you can read the syllabus and understand it. You've been reading syllabi now for well over 10, 12, 15, I don't know however many years, a long time. And so I think you guys will be able to handle it. Here it is, looking through it. I got all my contact information up here. If we scroll down, maybe, there we go. You'll see my goals for the course. If you keep scrolling, you'll see the objectives. And again, you can kind of look at that yourself. Looks like we have an anonymous giraffe here right now, so somebody is looking at it. And if we keep scrolling down, you'll see all the, again, standard syllabus stuff. What I do want to stop on is this, though, the course schedule. And if you guys open that up, it'll take you to a Google Doc that has our course schedule from day 1 till the end. So it very much looks like what our course will in Canvas eventually. This is my map, basically, of how I've been trying to plan things out. And so if you want to know what you're getting yourselves into ahead of time, I have the entire course planned. And so if you want to go ahead and take a look at that, you're more than welcome to. Yeah. So there's that. And every day we'll go through the work together. This is where I've designed the course where I hope you don't feel like you need to look, weeks ahead in order to stay on top of it. I'm going to do my best to make videos explaining like what I expect. I'm going to do my best to answer all your questions during class. I don't want this to be a thing where you feel like you're lost. I'm here with you. I can make videos. I can, report on Zoom. That's not challenging for me. So hopefully you do reach out and ask me questions if you need it. So that's what the syllabus is. Next is this reading I would like you to do. It says read elementary education has gone terribly wrong. So if you click on that, it should just open up into the PDF. My advice is this: take notes on things that you think are important. We're going to talk about the state of social studies in elementary education, especially. So really, highlight or underline whatever your preferred method is, lines that you think are important. We're going to have an online discussion day one, and I'm going to expect you to back up your reasoning and rationale with quotes, with outside information. So the readings I give you are the best way to do that. So make sure that you're not just passively reading it. Take time with it. I did my best to kind of think to myself, like, how long would this take an undergraduate student to do? And so most of the time, if you look into this the schedule, you'll see I actually wrote times next to each thing. So for example, up here I wrote 45 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, so I had to edit a little bit. Like I tried to hit spacebar, but some of my keyboard, so they're called hotkeys, and when you have a hotkey, it means it does something else to like the video editing software I'm doing. So I couldn't type in the 30 that I wanted to. So all you need to know is to kind of say what I said before. The writings and the readings and stuff, they have times on them because that's just the estimated amount of time you need to spend on them. And that's my bomb going off. Everything on my computer is happening all at once. Super fun. Anyway, so read elementary education has gone terribly wrong before our class. It should take you like 30 minutes. Take notes, write down things that you think are important. I'm gonna go back because I had been filming for a while, so I have to go back a little bit. So I just talked about read elementary education. Now go to interact in Yellow Dig community, open that up, and you're gonna click this button, or I already emailed all of you this, and so if you have an email that says like invitation to Yellow Dig or whatever it says, go ahead and open that up. I already have some of you in it. If I go to members, I'll see some of you. Yeah, so I got some of you. These are all the invitations I don't have, and today's Thursday, so it's not a huge deal. But you do want to get logged in as soon as possible because I am asking you to use this as a space to get to know each other. We will also use this every single day to post like our summary, some of our thinking. Some of you will post questions into it. I'll cover that later. But all you need to know is like right now before class, I just want you to interact with it. I want you to post like, a silly photo, for example. If you go into the interact page, like going back to Canvas, if you scroll down, you'll see that I have like a little activity that you could optionally do every day. I don't want to make more work for you. This course hasn't started yet, so I'm not going to expect you to do too much other than that reading and check the syllabus. But it really helps me get to know you guys. And if we're going to be a community with each other, it's best if I do know you. And so, if you can, please post before class. If you don't, I'm going to ask you to do it anyway once class gets started. So if you want to get ahead on some of that work, it just could be a cool thing for you to do. So again, like Wednesday, I'm asking you to post a silly, ridiculous photo. You'll go in here and do it. I got these boxes that tell you exactly like how to do it and what to do, and so just check that stuff out. And yeah, interact with one another too. Like feel free to make a comment on my picture, my story, whatever. I want to get to know who you are. Okay, getting out of this stuff now. That's all before class. Again, like that's that before class module. There's 3 things. Check those out, please, before Monday. The more we all can be on the ball together, the better. If you have contacts with each other, like if you have your phone numbers and stuff, like you guys probably are all in the same cohort, more or less. Reach out to each other, like let them know, like, hey, Hamblin is already asking us to do stuff. Maybe check it out before Monday. I definitely recommend doing that. Okay, so going on to day 1, June now. I'm going to cover day 1 briefly. I'm not going to go into the specifics because we're going to do that day 1. But I do want to talk about what it looks like because it's basically what every day is going to look like. And again, a lot of you have asked me like, hey, can I just not come to class and like watch like your recordings? That's not going to work so well. Like you really do need to be in class during this time. However, I tried to make the activities very flexible where you're not always listening to me. Like right now, it's not going to be just like straight lecture. Like overall, like in the 2 hours and 15 minutes we're with each other, like, in the same time, I'm going to probably talk for 20 to 25 minutes of it, like where you all listen to me. The rest of it will be small group discussions, large group discussions, independent readings, things like that. So I'm going to cover that right now just to kind of give you a heads up. And if you don't know if this will work out for you, you need to let me know sooner rather than later. I've already talked to a lot of you and we've, brainstormed and we have it figured out. But again, I can't help you unless you contact me. So please do that. So again, every day we'll come in, we'll have a warm-up activity. It's what this thing right here is. You'll click open. It'll be different each time. Sometimes it'll be a question. Sometimes it'll be something for you to analyze. Sometimes it'll be something goofy. It's going to be a lot of different things. It's going to take like 10 minutes each time. And basically, let me look over here because I have times for these things too. It's going to take about 10 minutes each day. And it's going to be something that is interactive. It's kind of a check-in to make sure that you all are here, you're enjoying yourselves, whatever. So that'll be the warm-up activity. That'll be different. Day one will just be questions over syllabus. The second thing, compelling question. Like every class period will have some kind of big question, and that's something I want to imprint upon you too. When you're teaching, you should always have some big idea that you're trying to reach for, and it oftentimes can be shaped into a question. And so this is going to be like the lecture part of it. So for 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to give you the question, and I'm going to just give you opinions, ideas. Sometimes I'll ask you guys to complete a poll. It's just going to be very open-ended. And so if we open it up, you'll see that in this case I have the question right here. And then the first day we're going to look at something. We're going to look at the marginalization of social studies. And again, I'll lead you through that. That's something that we'll do together. So you don't feel like you need to do that earlier, okay? And that's something I should bring that up now too. Most of the stuff we're going to do in person that day. So don't feel like you need to do the warm-up activity. Don't feel like you need to do the compelling question the day before. We'll do that together. I will tell you what you need to do ahead of time, and I'll get into that in a bit, okay? Next, discussion role explanation. This is where it gets really a little different for day one, because you've never done a discussion, but we are going to talk about it in small groups, like what it means to be a good participant in a discussion. A lot of times I feel like in classes, discussions are kind of stale because only, out of 25 people, like a few of them are like super into it and they talk a lot. They might even bully other people out. Like you don't feel like you can get a word in. Our discussions will be all online. Like we're going to use a discussion, like a board or a discussion board on Canvas. And so that kind of, makes everything democratic, that not one voice can dominate the others. Everyone's going to have the same space and be able to type. And so we'll get into that, but we need to just talk about what that means. So we will have a discussion in small groups. And then again, this is why we have to be with each other at the same time. If we're not, then it's really hard to actually have these small group discussions, because we're going to be using Zoom to do that. So really be, present, be there. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to do any of this. Let's see, going into this independent reading, that is something we'll do every single day. I have set it up where every day in class you will have 25 to 30 minutes of reading to do, and the purpose of that is I'm trying to get you guys to realize that these big, deep readings, sometimes we only have, in a teacher's day, 25, 30 minutes to do them. I picked readings that are a bit smaller, a little more compact. What I would like you to do is just really take time to think about how that reading connects to the compelling question. So this is an example of me trying to be flexible. Like I understand a lot of you have jobs or you're working with kids or whatever. I expect you to be reading during this time, but also if you know that you're going to need to, say, step away from the computer for 25 minutes to go do something, this would be the moment where you're like, okay, I should read this before, the day before, I should look at the compelling question, and I should do my best to be prepared for the next day. That way you give yourself a little more freedom to step away. Sorry, my email went off. So again, that's that flexibility. But you can't just bail on the entire class period. That's just me giving you some flexibility to take 25, 30 minutes, whatever. But you'll need to be coming back for the discussion that we're going to have. You have to participate in it. Okay? So again, if you have questions about that, let me know. Going into the next set of stuff that we tend to do, we're going to actually do the Canvas discussion. So if you open the Canvas discussion up, I just gave you some points on how to do it, but all you do is hit reply, you type stuff in, like this, da-da-da-da-da. Let me make sure my video is still working. Yes, okay. So you type stuff in, and that's it. You answer the question. based on the information that we've read, framing it within the question, and then you guys reply to each other. I will describe what that looks like in greater detail, but every day we will do that. Every day, let me see, where am I? We will have a Canvas discussion that is about 25 to 30 minutes. Yeah. Next, we're going to do self-assessments. That's the biggest way I grade you, and I'll talk more about the grading rubric later. But one of the biggest ways that I am going to grade you is through these self-assessments. I think self-assessments are one of the better, more democratic ways of having you guys have a voice in your own grading. Especially because these things are hard. A lot of times these things are very open-ended, and so I'm going to give you a chance to grade yourself. We'll talk about what that means and what that looks like in greater detail, but just know that you will be grading yourself for your discussion posts, and I do expect quite a bit of explanation and evidence, and I'm going to give you a space to do that, and we're going to run through it together. We're going to talk about what that means. I'm even going to put you in small groups in the first day and ask you hey, what does this look like? What's fair? And we'll talk about that. So we'll do that on the first day. And then finally, developing lesson plan. Every day I have 10 to 15 minutes where we're going to talk about this thing called developing a lesson plan. There is a PBL throughout the course. There's 2 of them, actually. The first one is you're going to be creating a 3-day long lesson plan. And that goes into, quite a bit of detail, which I'll get into later. But you're going to create a 3-day lesson plan. And then after our first 2 weeks, you're going to create a 2-week long unit. And we're really going to get into the weeds of basically adding context to a unit, trying to realize that, our math lessons should not necessarily be isolated from our social studies and English lessons. Everything should be working towards the same goals. And I'm, as your social studies instructor, I'm hoping to show you that social studies can really be a good outlet or contextual frame for that. So we'll get into that later. But just know that you do have a big project. You will be working individually in your first one, but the unit plan, you'll actually be working with a group, and yeah, it's going to be fairly extensive. But I give you time each day. In fact, if I go to the course schedule, if we look to the right, you see where it says read, but every day you have independent work, develop lesson plan. I always tell students that for every hour of class, I expect about an hour of work outside of class. And I think that's a fair way of looking at it. And so that's how I frame my homework. And so I'm never going to give you more than 2 hours of work after class is done. So I put times here because I want to show you that I really am trying to not burden you more than I think necessary. And so you have 45 minutes. And then if you keep scrolling down at a certain point, it'll say, instead of develop lesson plan, it should say unit plan. Where is it? Oh, wait. There it is. So yeah, develop lesson unit plans. Also, there eventually will be committee work. So if you look where I'm kind of hovering my mouse, we'll talk about that later. But you're going to have a lot of time after class to discuss with each other, work with one another, all that fun stuff. So I know a lot of stuff I threw at you. Take your time to look at it yourself if you like. Finally, I have a section in each module that says after class reading, note taking, and lesson development. This is your homework. So everything that's above it, that's in-class stuff. You do not have to do a single thing until class starts. Okay? Everything else, though, so say day 1, for example, this is what's due day 2. So I expect you to read the Nebraska State Standards. I expect you to read the C3 framework, and I'll give you directions. I'll give you some ideas. And then I'll give you some more framework for the independent work, developing a lesson plan. But that's all the homework. And then I would expect you to have it done by the next day. So I'll check it to make sure you're good. Some of it involves more assessments, but again, we'll get into that later. So just for day 1, just to help you guys kind of frame it, I created this just to kind of hopefully help you figure out what we have to do. Again, looking at this schedule, again, let me just check my camera, make sure I'm on. Still on. Looking at this schedule, you can kind of figure out maybe all right, well, I know that some of the stuff is going to be independent work. So independent reading, for example, maybe I can do that the day before, so I give myself a break. Again, it's your choice. You know you the best, but I'm giving you time during class to do that. That way, that you can get some more time and more freedom. Everything else, though, for the most part, I got this independent section, but the warm-up activity, you'll need to be there. The compelling question, I'm lecturing, so I can record those, but I'm also going to be polling you guys a lot. I'm going to be asking you to tell me things. I'm not a big lecturer. Like, this video is really awkward for me because I feel like I've talked too much. I don't really like to talk. I like to hear you guys' opinion. I like to, bring everyone to the same table. And so if you're not there, it's going to be really hard for me to say, like, oh, they deserve this grade because you aren't there. Same with this Canvas discussion. You have to be there to participate with your group. And you can't, like, some of you might argue, like, well, can't I just, like, post later? No, because we're all going to be interacting with each other in the moment. And we need to do that in the moment. Now, let's say, for example, you're gone. Let's say, like, you're sick, or I know one of you said, like, you had a wedding, or, all the crap that can happen. I get that. And I let you know right now, I am flexible, but my flexibility comes with a price. You have to tell me how you're going to make it up. I'm not, like, I don't really consider it extra credit either. Like, I consider it like, okay, you missed this. How are you going to do? Like, how are you going to show me that you've mastered the skill or the concept that I was trying to give you? Since I don't really, I want to see things from you. I want to see tangible things that we can look at. I'm not a big believer in, like, oh, I talk, you listened, and I give you a quiz. Like, if you might have noticed, like, there's not a single quiz or test in this entire unit because I don't believe in that stuff. But yeah, just kind of ask yourself, like, what are ways that I could possibly do stuff earlier or later that might help. But if you feel like this class is going to be really tough to do at the same time every day, again, let me know. And we'll have to figure something out. And that, like, the extreme thing might be like you might have to drop the course, and I hope not. I really hope every single one of you stays, because hopefully there's some middle ground where we can kind of figure out, like, what ways you can keep on being with us. Okay, that was a lot. Again, I don't really like to talk. I lied. I love to talk. I just don't like to lecture. I feel like lecturing is just makes me feel nasty. All right, that's everything. That's the course. I'm going to make an introduction video. I'm going to share one. I'm going to keep on adding stuff. Please, please, please email me. Please, please, please do this before class module stuff, okay? I'm going to expand myself back so I can give a formal goodbye. Ooh, very nice. I'm learning all these, like, tricks, too. It's really cool. You and now. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening, and I hope I see you very soon. Ask questions if you have them. Bye.